Well, I guess basically along those lines. My band released an album recently, and it's a protest album. And for me personally, it was the first time I've done something more overt, or anything with a more political stance. So basically, just talking about the record. And
so what's the album's name?
The album's name is "Find the Common, Shine a Light," and I started writing music after the election. I like many of us, was at a loss for words and just couldn't believe what our country had just done, and began writing. And I've been lucky the last couple of years to have been collaborating with a lyricist. And for me, that was very new. I'd never written songs with lyrics up until a couple of years ago. But in this latest rendition of my songs, I felt like lyrics were a nice addition. And so I teamed up with her. Her name is Mansa Miro, and she is just a beautiful poet. And we decided there's so many different angles you can take. We decided I'm an optimistic person, and I think these last 7 months have probably been a period in my life when I have maybe had the least to be optimistic about, and so I felt it was a worthwhile endeavor to try to find something to be hopeful for. And so this project was kind of that. It was something for me to release into, and that's kind of my band's purpose from the beginning, has been about release of emotions. The band's name is Catharsis. And so for me personally, this has certainly been a catharsis through this project, through the record, through the music. But just as important to me and my bandmates, we hope that it's also for our listeners a catharsis. And we do a lot of performing in rural communities around the country. A lot of our tours these days are funded in part by clinics at universities, and oftentimes universities are in these little tiny towns. And without fail, regardless of the political persuasion, the message of basically just talking about it, like bringing your own thoughts and your own opinions to the table in as unemotional a way as possible, and trying to have a dialogue, trying to have a conversation. Not necessarily, I can't say I've spoken with people who voted for Trump, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know if that's a worthwhile conversation, but I have spoken with people who didn't vote, and for me, that's the key. For me, it's about connecting with, I don't know if my math is right, but I think close to 100 million adults in this country didn't vote, so even if it's 0.001% of those people, that I feel like we can make a difference, finding those people, connecting with them, hopefully maybe inspiring them and showing how important this is to us and should be to them as well, and to the future of our country. So it's been fun to have such a direct message to send, to speak through our music, because music for me has always been about emotion, and regardless of the words and regardless of the music, I personally find myself connecting emotionally, but I think for many people the words are really what it takes to create that connection, and it's been really fun. Yeah, well, my lyricist and I have done a number of different processes in our collaboration. We started with songs that I wrote, and then she added words. This was on our last record, so a non-political message. And then for this most recent go-around, because we started with the concept and had really wanted to dial in that message, she wrote the lyrics, and then I added words, I added music. And for me, that was a first, but it was really funny timing, because I run the jazz program at Hunter College. It's a public university in New York City. And I had just the previous semester taught a class on songwriting for the first time. And I'm not one to really even hear words in music. Usually when I'm listening to music, my ear is like 100% buried in the musical side of things rather than the lyrical side of things. So for me, it was like this amazing learning process. So it was perfect timing, because I had just basically gotten done learning a ton about putting music to words and things you have to think about that I'd never thought about before, like how different words resonate differently and work in different registers, and it's really cool. So that was a very fun process for me, and I'm actually in the midst of another project where I'm collaborating not just with Mansa, but with other lyricists who I've worked with throughout my career, and still very much taking a political stance in many of those cases, because it's funny, even even unrequested, many of these artists have offered up stories, poems, words that do have a political stance to them. You know, I think it's really on the forefront of most of my peers' minds these days. Well, I think pleasantly surprised, our original protest song has had a really great reaction. You know, you never really know how that's going to play out. So that's been very exciting. The song is called "Become the Water," and it's basically talking about, yeah, owning up. Like, you know, think about what a vote for Trump actually means. What does this mean for people of color? What does this mean for the LGBT community? I mean, like, really owning your actions, and on our side on the liberal side of things, also, you know, making sure we kind of are aware of what our stance means and what can we do to maybe be more clear, be more inclusive, or whatever it's going to take, you know, to get this guy out of office. But another song that we decided to cover, so to speak, was Dylan's "The Times They Are Changin'." And of course, it's a song a lot of people know, but we have a very, very left of field arrangement that I wasn't 100% sure. I mean, some people, you know, Dylan's music is religious, you know, and so you come and you start deconstructing this, and sometimes you can upset some folk. But we definitely haven't seen that at all. We've had a really positive reaction to the song, and that song was written 53 years ago, and the lyrics could easily have been written yesterday. I mean, it's kind of sad, you know. But at the same time, we've had these moments, well, the last 8 years of hope and clarity, and we just have to keep striving for something better.
So
Well,
where do they go?
Right, so my record, Find the Common, Shine a Light, came out on a wonderful label called Greenleaf Music that's owned and operated by Dave Douglas, a hero of mine, great brass player, amazing composer. So they can always find our up-to-date schedule there or on my own website, ryankeberle.com. We're also very active on social media, so Instagram would be a great place to keep in touch with us. And in terms of our music, Greenleaf Music website has everything there. We're also selling T-shirts for the first time. We made our very, very first Catharsis merchandise that have the album slogan, "Find the Common, Shine a Light." So they can get that on the Greenleaf side, along with our music and sheet music as well, if there are students out there who are interested in playing the music. So yeah, it's been a really great community. The Greenleaf community is a very supportive place.
Give me a clap in your name.
Ryan Keberle.